So the third video on board management is all about the chair. So the chairman has a bigger role than the normal executive because the chairman will lead the entire board, and not only that, the chair is also the one who is in liaison with the owners. So he's the one, or she's the one, having all the talks with the owner or the owners. It's the link that the owners have to the board. But the chairman is also the one who is linked to operations. So the chairman's job is to support the CEO as well. And, ahead of every board meeting, the chair and the CEO normally meets up and discuss the agenda and structure the work together. So the chairman is kind of the spider inside the web, having making sure everything is working smoothly. So the skills needed are quite extensive. Not only do they need to know corporate governance for the region that the company is registered in and the company is operating in, they also need to have leadership skills to engage and manage and lead the board, as well as being a mentor and supporting the CEO. I think it's really important to have that mindset as a chairman, because I have been CEO where the chairman and I had not quite been aligned, and then it becomes an us and them kind of very polarized relationship, which is not good for the company at all. So the chairman is then monitoring and scrutinizing and holding the CEO accountable. Yes, of course you should, but there's teamwork. So if you have a good chemistry and there's a level of respect and that you can support each other, the outcome will be so much better. And you would feel better as well. That relationship is such an important one. So if that one doesn't quite feel right, it could actually drain not only you as a CEO, but it could also drain you as a chairman. But then, if you are in a position of being a chairman, you and the board have the ability to actually take actions on that if you feel that the CEO is not the profile needed at this very juncture of this of the company cycle, on the company cycle, business cycle, life cycle. So you have the power to do that. Unless you are in the US and you're the same person, then I think you don't have any problems at all with this. Because you're wearing two hats and you're the same person. So obviously, if you can't get along with yourself, you have a big problem. You have a bigger problem. So yeah. So what does it mean to lead a board then? Well, the board itself are comprised of external people that are on that board because they can add value to the long-term growth trajectory of the company. They are there to, be able to mitigate the risks and with their skill and their expertise, and also identify opportunities. And the research shows that the more diverse a board is, the more enabled they are to actually identify risks and opportunities, because they all come from different perspectives and they think a bit different, and that you put that all piece together and then it just becomes a really solid base. However, the role of the chair is then to manage this diverse group. And even though research shows that a diverse board is brilliant, it also takes a lot of effort, not only for the chair, but for each board member themselves to reflect, to have increased self awareness, and to respect and engage with people that maybe are completely fundamentally different from themselves. Because being on a homogeneous board, we look the same, we come from the same areas, we think the same, we get along, and that is really comfortable. But throwing a bunch of other people in the mix, all of a sudden, everyone comes from a different corner of the world. Everyone has different skill sets, and then we're all going to work together. It's not easy. It's actually super hard. And maybe not even the best solution if the company is in distress, because it takes a lot of effort for everyone to get along. And sometimes you don't even have the time for that, right? So at certain junctures, maybe you don't want to go all crazy with throwing everyone in the mix. So it is indeed a balancing act, but managed in the right way, it's phenomenal. But so what does the chair need to do? Obviously, the chair needs to fully know every person around the table. And here's what the self awareness comes into play as well, that the chairman knows how he or she are being perceived, and that they can identify the backgrounds and the stories and the triggers also that each of the board members have, and also know when to encourage someone to speak who's not that verbal, and also quieting someone who's always super verbal and talks a lot, because you need that balance. And not only that, you need to know enough about the expertise in each area to know when to actually call on certain people to speak up if they don't do it themselves. So you're like a conductor, playing a song with a bunch of instruments that maybe not even normally would go well together. It's just saying. But then each of the board, every board member also have a responsibility to respect and handle other people. So if I am the new kid on the block with AI tech expertise, I'm young, I don't have any patience, I have a very clear view of the world according to me. I come into a board meeting, and then there's this older man who's been around for ages, super competent, so well connected, knows everything about business. So and I just like, oh, that old man, he's so slow. Yeah, but I can't do that because he's there for another reason than I am. And we need to be able to work together. And in the same way, that person needs to be able to look at me and address me without thinking, oh, I wonder what this little girl is up to. See, do you understand now what I mean about self awareness and respect? And also, being the new kid on the block with AI experience, you also need to be able to communicate in a way that everyone understands. So if you just walk into the room and start with your acronyms and your tech lingo, and then you lose half of the room. I mean, you're not going to get super liked by being what they perceive as an arrogant prick. Because they think you're arrogant, because they feel less superior, because they don't understand what you talk about. And then they feel that they kind of lost face. And see, it's a dance. It's a dance. And somewhere aligned in all of this, the chairman just also need to be able to get this dance party going. And also, if you see as a chairman that someone is clearly not following, but their ego and their pride prevent them from just saying, hey, stop, I don't have a freaking clue what you're talking about right now. You as a chairman needs to be that person. Okay, Danny, can we just take it down a notch? It's a lot of new lingo flying around here. What are you actually saying? What is the actual impact? Can you just use other types of words just to get everyone on board here? I mean, as a chairman, being the bigger person that asks that question is, I think that is really key. So, and okay, so I love observing people, right? Watching the body language, and you can see what's been said, but sometimes it's also more important what's not been said. And when I'm new in a boardroom, I ask all the silly questions. And then when I do, I then, use my split vision. And if I ask something, and then I swear to God, it's always someone else who slightly leans forward a bit. And I was like, bingo. That means that person wanted to ask the same question, but didn't. Maybe they've been on the board for so long and now they're at this point where they don't feel that they can ask that question because they probably should have asked it like 2 years ago. So and also as a chairman, you need to be able to read that room and speak then for other people if you feel that something is not being said here. And like I've mentioned in earlier videos, having and creating that trusting environment where all the directors in this case feel confident to speak up and also confident to share when they are not in alignment, when they're not fully understanding what's at stake. It's about creating that trusting environment, and by doing that, it starts with you as a chairman to start being, you know, vulnerable and share that you're not Superman or Superwoman. So it's okay for other people to also be vulnerable and actually admit to not fully grasping something. Right. So that's how you build that circle of trust. And it goes in the management team, in any team really, and especially obviously also in the boardroom. So, yeah, being a chairman is a lot of work, but it's also a lot of fun. So, if you're a people person, if you are this social conductor, if you if you can manage and get the best out of each person on the board, that's how to do it. Otherwise, you get a bunch of people that sit there, they get paid, they put there on their resume, but it's not that fun. But hey, you are on the board with person A, B, and C that are really cool, and that, and highlights or gives you a certain aura or star qualities because you are on this amazing board. But if you actually talk to the person and then it's just bullshit, or in some really worst case scenarios I've heard from the US is that the chairman and the CEO being the same person and already have a game plan and not even allowing the other board members to speak up. I mean, that's just stupid. But coming back to, we all have that sense of pride, want to belong, status, and all that. But I just hope and wish that more people are clear on the liability and are clear on what can I actually contribute to this board. And if I'm on a board but I'm being constantly ignored, have the freaking spine to walk away, because you will eventually end up in a board where you will be listened to and where you can have these good discussions and really future proof the career of the business, and not just give way to pride and social stress of belonging or not belonging to certain circles. Because at the end of the day, we are responsible. And if we don't do our job properly and the company goes belly up, it actually affects a lot of people. If it's a big corporation, maybe there's thousands of people that lose their jobs. So it's not something that we should take lightly. So, and the role of the chair has never been this complex as it ever, and I don't think it's gonna slow down the complexity. It's just gonna be even more, and also includes like geopolitical tensions, securing a supply chain, keeping an eye on what's going on with the whole global markets at the moment. I think that being on a board going forward is going to be so complex and has so much responsibility and liability that I don't think that you could have multiple board seats. I think it would be more of a, maybe you have just a few, but it's almost like a full-time job. Because to be on top with compliance, regulatory, identifying risks and opportunities. But that's just my personal opinion. So yeah, just to sum it up, the role of the chair being the conductor, and also for you as an executive on a board to do some introspection to see, okay, how do I feel in the boardroom? Am I being heard? Am I actually one of the eye rollers? God forbid, maybe stop doing that. And also when it comes to really staying on top of things, maybe you feel that there are certain areas that you're not covering, then please speak to your chairman about it or the nomination committee, so that the board that you're part of is super strong and super fit at all times. So good luck.